All right, what's going on, good people? Um, I told you when you're a real worker and a real podcaster, whatever, you gotta know how to make things happen. So right now, I'm not in my studio, I'm in my mama house. You see my mama piano in the back? She got the little couch over here, like she got the whole little setup. So I'm in St. Louis until what? I'll be doing a live stream from here next week too, and then it'll be back to what y'all normally seeing. I told you I was gonna be more consistent because y'all turning up with these on YouTube and on TikTok, so we got to keep the numbers going with that. I said I got to be consistent, so that's what I'm gonna do. Um, Last week we did the live stream. We had a guest. It was great. We got another guest this week. So this is somebody I started following on Instagram a little while back. We kind of got connected. Like what they're doing. I think they have a lot of good stuff to say. They also from the Midwest like me. This is now the second person from Detroit. This ain't technically in the season, but it is in the season kind of since the season ain't officially over. And y'all know I got family on both sides that live up there, so you know how I feel about that. But we got a lot to cover today, and this is somebody that eventually be on the actual regular podcast too. But let me go ahead and introduce him and quit rambling. My guy, what's going on?
What's the deal, baby? You good?
I'm chilling. I'm chilling. All right. So obviously the people can see your name, but I want you to tell the people what's your name. They know where you're from,
I
and
got you.
what do you
So,
do?
so my name is Eric Michael, East Side Detroit, feel me? Uh, and I am a creative director for an organization called Just Create.
Okay. What do you do with Just Create?
So what we do is we create spaces that allow individuals, entrepreneurs, and people in general to find out how to utilize their purpose and how to put that into the marketplace and actually do the thing that God told them to do, the way that God led them to do it.
Okay. And I don't want to get too much because I really want to save it for when I actually put you on the show.
Yeah.
But being in a world where being a creative,
hmm
letting God use you, dealing with Pharisee spirits. How do you navigate that industry with that? Because we're seeing a lot of wave of creatives, especially ones who are used by God. But in the same breath, we are going to see people who are using what they ain't already see, not coming already started. People who are
hmm
using that as just a come up almost. So how do you navigate that being authentically for a vessel for Christ, but in the same time still being super creative? Because people can try to argue that you can't do both.
Um, what I do is I stay in the word a lot. So if you allow God to recreate your heart and create a clean heart in you and have a steadfast spirit, like it said in the Psalms, you won't ever want to put yourself in the wrong order that God is supposed to be in. So I'm not going to do anything where my name is getting more praise than what he's doing, you know? That's why with everything I'm doing, I always say I want God people to see what God can do with my yes. Because it's whatever he's telling me to do, that's what I'm gonna do. So if I stay in the word, if I humble myself and I go to him and ask him, like, "Yo, what do you want me to do?" And then I have a lot of people, only a few people I should say, but that I go to when I do feel prideful and I do feel like different emotions, you know, because I think that it's your emotions are valid, but they aren't final. So God gave you those emotions. Let's figure out what they are saying and get to the core issue because those are what things that kind of leads you astray. So I try to make sure I stay as rooted as possible in a community that is consecrating and discipling me to make sure that I'm not doing anything that is apart from what He's telling me to do.
All right, good stuff, good stuff. So the rest of y'all gonna have to hear about that when we have the actual interview now, because it's a lot. Like I said, I'll be here all day with that. Okay, that's good. So now, my most recent episode was about letting God take control, which ended up the guest, shout out to him, Eddie V, ended up talking about his overcoming suicide and
Mhm.
his struggles with suicide at one point. And I started to really push in because as someone who was also an overcomer of suicidal ideation for many years and someone who's also heard just pray it away, and also being somebody who would say, that's what that is used as a crutch in the church, and even just by regular people, like, well, we'll just pray it away. And I challenged him just because I wanted him to really dig in and go deep on that, because he was saying, like, I prayed and I stayed in prayer. What he ended up saying was, which I called out, was he was like, and I listen to scripture, I pray scripture, and I also begin to just listen to worship songs and gospel and all that. And I know recently I learned in Second Chronicles 20, they won war based on praise. So I told him, did you think that you overcame the war in your mind because of consistent praise? And he was like, he never really looked at it like that, but basically, and that's something to point out. So with that, one, have you ever struggled with suicide ideation? And then two, what was your take on the episode, if you got a chance to listen to it?
I got a chance to listen to it briefly, not full in depth, but I'll give more to the first question. Have I ever thought about suicide thought? Yeah, I have. I believe a lot of people actually have, and they don't want to admit it because they don't want to be ostracized. They don't want to look like, oh my gosh, I don't have everything figured out. But it's more so the pressure of wanting to be perfect and wanting everything to be right. And then when you don't have control, you're like, well, what's the point of me even doing this anymore? Right.
Yeah.
And when you start harboring those emotions in and you invalidate them, right,
Mm-hmm.
that's when everything kind of starts to override and start to take over. And if you're not honest with where you are, what's going on, and how you're feeling, yeah, them things are going to start weighing on you and putting more pressure on you because it's like you're lying to yourself on a daily basis. And not only lying to yourself, you're not allowing your heart to flesh itself out. It's becoming hardened, you're becoming numb,
Yeah.
and you're silencing different things, and you're not remembering what God said because it's like a prideful spirit. It's like, you know what, I don't even want to do what I know I should do. I feel more comfortable staying in these emotions and staying in these thoughts, and if we keep harboring on those thoughts, it's kind of just like your belief system works both ways. We talk about how faith is one way and you believe in that continuously and you act on it, then yeah, you start seeing things. But we have to be responsible with that, knowing that it works on the other side too. So go ahead. I just feel like you just got something.
No, I just really like that, because you're talking about staying in your thoughts. I recently learned that, and it's something I'm gonna really go more in depth, because obviously my season is about to end. I got 2 episodes left. This
Hmm.
episode I really want to hit hard next season when I come back in like 3 months. The live stream still going on, by the way. Y'all ain't got to worry about that, people, but the actual podcast itself. But I've learned it was like people who struggle with mental issues. I've heard it from 2 different people. One who was on a podcast, and another one was doing like a sermon. And they 2 different people, and they both said the same thing. It's because it's a form of rebellion. So there's some area in your life you're in rebellion, and that is why you're going through that. And so for me, I was just like, that is crazy, because when you really think about it and ask God to reveal to you, what is the rebellion I'm in right now? Because rebellion is sneaky, just like pride is sneaky. And we
Hmm.
think like, oh, I'm not prideful because I can ask for help and I can do this. But it's like, no, or like we think rebellion is just, it's delayed disobedience. He told you go get up, do this now. You like, I'm gonna do it when I get up. That's rebellion. You know what I mean? And so I think that's interesting, but also talking about with your thoughts, because even with me recently, like I've been seeing people that I've had like issues with, not necessarily beef, because I don't beef with regular people,
Hmm.
but like just like little issues, and like I was like some unforgiveness there. And when I saw them, it was no nothing. Like it was cool. It wasn't no static or nothing. And when you talk about the thoughts thing, I found myself later on thinking those thoughts again, starting to get mad. I said, no, 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 no. Remember, we just saw them people. It wasn't no issue. Let it go. Like we like where this is at, talking to myself like just let it dead. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Don't try to revive it. So I think when we wallow on negative thoughts, we can just like a snowball effect, and it just makes it even worse. So I'm glad you highlighted that. Crazy. Good stuff. And it still correlates with the episode of letting God take control, because that's something that's a part of that. Now we didn't cover that in the episode, but y'all need to still go listen to it. Okay. So getting into the first topic today, Mike Vick just got He's leaving Fox, and he got emotional on live, and we're going to talk about it because he got a lot of mixed reviews. And basically, he got emotional accepting this position and leaving Fox and all that good stuff. So let me share my screen, and we're going to watch the clip real quick. Is that rhyme? I don't think so. Whatever.
A lot of headlines this week because he is the newest coach of Norfolk State, and we are also committing to Norfolk State right here.
Hey,
my hair.
Sign me up, baby.
Mike, we are so
Sign us up, baby. 757. Congratulations, my man.
It comes with mixed emotions as we love you so much, and we don't want you to leave us. Now, you're stuck with us the rest of the season.
Let's go, Spartans.
We are so happy for you, and I see the emotion. What makes you emotional?
First off, just being a big part of Fox Sports and the opportunity. I love you guys. I love everybody in this building and this administration. Have been amazing to me. This wasn't easy. Bittersweet, but when you got a chance to go, get an opportunity to go lead young men in your community where I grew up, watching this team, and I wanted them to be assured that they wanted me as the head coach with no experience, but I got what it takes. I got all the right people around me, and I'm going to ready to embark on a new journey. So I know y'all be right there with me.
Yes.
This will forever be home, man, and I'll never forget.
Hey, well, for any kids that's watching, you see the emotion. That's what it means to him, and he's going to pour all of that into you. So anybody that's out there undecided about what you're going to do, I've been around this man for a few years now. You can get the best knowledge from this guy, man. So Norfolk State, man, we're looking for big things.
So special. Our loss is their gain. We love you so much, and you're our teammate for life, and you're stuck with us for the life. We're excited to see what you do in your next chapter.
Man.
We love.
All right. Okay, so let's get to recapping that because I actually have a lot to say. Okay, the first thing is, what does this have to do with mental health? So I'll start this off. First of all, we're seeing kind of a renaissance when it comes to men, especially black men. And it's good to see publicly a black man, a strong black man who showing emotion after, getting that position and, being with Fox for so long after, we was younger with the whole situation of him in the dogfight thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's good for his mental health because I'm sure he's, of course, all the stuff he said, but then there's other stuff I'm sure he didn't want to say on camera right then. Like these people tried to destroy you, after what you did. And don't get it twisted. I love dogs. So that wasn't all right. I see a stray dog on the street. I'd be like, dang, I wish I could take Buddy home. Can't do that.
Yeah.
So it was not good. It was not right. But in the same breath, it's people out here unaliving people regularly, and they got less time than he did. And it's like, yeah, I'm not for having dogs act like that either, but it's good to see a redemption story, especially, with him, because he's been a full, I don't want to say 180, but it's definitely, if you kept up with Mike, you know what I'm saying? What's going on. So, and also I like to always extract that situation just for say, if I was in his shoes, which I don't want to jump too ahead of myself, but like after being torn down for years for a bad decision, because we all make bad decisions. And similar to I can compare him to Chris Brown. People never gonna forget what happened with Rihanna. Even I just seen recently, like somebody tried to say Chris Brown is mid and he's a woman beater. People ain't gonna never let you forget what you did. But to go up and elevate in the same eyes of people who are happy for you, and some people who aren't, it can be overwhelming. So just from that perspective, what's your take on if you a situation like that with your mental health and something like that?
Yeah, that I ain't gonna lie, that situation just in general made me smile because one, knowing what he went through when everything happened to now, I feel like as a man, we base so much off of what we do, who we are, what we can offer, right?
Yeah.
So when something is built up and then it's destroyed, and then it takes years to build it back up and into a new thing, and you get to a certain height, those emotions weigh on you, and it's very appropriate to be able to even let the tears go out because I think that it shows for young men, people in general, that one, healing is possible and that things can't change. Like your story isn't going to end there, and as long as you keep on writing your story. I think as men, we need more people in our circle that will allow those emotions. So I like how his his colleague in that moment said that what he said, like, hey, I want y'all to see this and we're proud of you and stuff, because those things, you know, some people don't hear that a lot. They
Yeah.
don't hear that I'm proud of you or I'm happy and you're doing a good job. So just a subtle thing like that can go a long way. And I think when we start taking our mental health serious, it allow us to appreciate the things that we're doing and appreciate life and appreciate celebrating the small wins. Like, even for example, I know it's hard for men to celebrate their birthday. Not a lot of people do that. It's like, okay, I'm not going to do too much, but we like to be celebrated. We like to feel good, and you know, we think that if we're doing all of this, why can't we have these type of moments? You know, and for anybody going through a mental health journey or a rediscovery, it's like, allow yourself to walk. I
Yeah.
think that's the best way to put it. You feel me? Like, too often we want to go from here and then sprint, right? But it's a walk. It's like, allow yourself to walk and observe what's going on and take things in, and look at the sun and look at the leaves and look at everything around you and feel it and be immersed in the moment, whether it's good or bad, and just really understand that, you know, everything is going to work out.
Definitely, definitely, definitely. It segues nice to the next section, which is WWID and what would I do in this situation? Honestly, if I was in a situation like him and like Mike Vick, and after years, you know, they tried to destroy me, and like I said, it wasn't like he was just minding his business. He did something bad.
Yeah.
He didn't deserve the consequence that was that extreme, but you know, and unfortunately, we live in the world. You're in the public eye. People never gonna forget what you did. You're a regular person working at Starbucks. You did something. Somebody gonna never let you forget it. It's just how people are, especially if you're black. But what I will say is, it would bring tears to your eyes too when you get that kind of that redemption story publicly. Now, you know, because after that stuff happened, he couldn't work at No Fox right away. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
He was ostracized for years. Because what year was that? I should have looked it up.
I think it
But
was like 2007, between, no, was it?
I'm gonna look it up while we talk. Okay.
Cause he was still, he just left the Falcons or going to the Eagles. So between 2007 and 2014, he's between that for sure.
2008. I remember I was in middle school. Well, no, that was early high school. But he pleaded guilty on November 25th, 2008. So it was around that 2007-ish that time. And you know, yeah, it was a long time ago. You know, but look how long it took. It was what? That was almost 20 years, almost 18 years ago. You know what I mean? And granted, he been in, you know, popping for the last few years, but still, that was still a good 10, 12, you
Yeah.
know. So what would I do in this situation? I'm gonna be honest, and I'm gonna stir the pot. So would I be a little sad if it was me in a situation like this, like, you know, an emotional? You made a comment earlier about pride because it's a struggle for everybody. And as someone who has been the underdog my whole life, if this were to happen to me, I might be on some, not, I wouldn't do it in like a haughty, blatant way,
Hmm.
but I might be fighting that desire to be like, ha, look at me now, look at what y'all tried to do, look at me where I'm at. That I'm just being honest. Now I might not do it, but and I might be fighting it. You know, they might not see me fighting it,
Yeah.
but I might be playing some of them songs that get you hyped up, like the ones that's like, I told y'all I was gonna do that. I told y'all.
Yeah.
So that's just what would be me. So if this was you in that situation, how would you be?
Mm, Depending on what they say, I definitely probably I probably cry. I'm a person who, especially as of late in my walk, I have been unashamed of my tears. I think that it's very powerful to be able to cry in front of people and still stand boldly where you're at in your stance.
Yeah,
You know, one of the most powerful and shortest scriptures is Jesus wept, in one of my in my opinion, you know, which lets us know it's okay to cry. So I definitely, if I'm remembering everything I went through and just going through my personal life, yeah, I definitely cry because all the things that we go through silently that people don't know about and things that we're battling just to make sure people are okay. And you
Mhm.
finally get that moment, and you're like, it was all worth it. I'm not about to sit up here and be, big and strong. No, if I depending on what they say or how I might feel, I'm crying. And I'm not gonna be ashamed of it because one, with my daughter and everything, I want her to know like, hey, these are okay emotions. So when you see your husband, when you get married and stuff, I want you to make sure that he's comfortable with those tears with you.
Segues perfectly. We in sync. WWJD. What would Jesus do? Ethically and morally correct thing to do. Once again, he just, you know, stated Jesus wept. It's in the Bible. So I think that there's nothing wrong with that, especially in a situation like that. You don't know what you'll do. If you bust out in tears, he kept it cool. Because some
Yeah, he
of
kept it
us would have
playing.
been
He kept it
bawling.
playing.
Some people would have been bawling, took off running. You see me? You would have just said, you would have thought you know what I'm saying? You just never would have known. But I definitely kept it playing. You never know. He might have broke down right after.
Facts.
I've seen situations like that where random, but I just remember it was Chloe Bailey when she first performed live, did her first solo. After she got off stage, it was a clip of her and she got down the steps and just fell down, just cried, just bawled. So it's just like for you to hold it up that long, just to release, it's nothing but a release. And that's a good, healthy release. I've said it before and I keep saying there's a difference between crying and being a crybaby or a whiner.
Yeah.
There's two different things. So there's nothing wrong with crying, but it was just good to see him, like I said. And if you've noticed, we see more and more of that lately,
Hmm.
especially lately in all spheres, not just with men of God. Just now see sports, we see it in music. So it's kind of becoming a thing. Like I said, it's like a renaissance, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Final segment before we go to the final topic. WSMD. What should men do? So I mean, in that situation, just feel your feelings. I guess
Yeah.
I I challenge, because that's just me naturally. I do challenge the phrase, which you can argue both sides of the ball. The phrase, your feelings are valid, because that phrase has been misused. Your feelings
Hmm.
are valid, but the phrase is misused. Because,
Yeah.
like I said before, your feelings will lie to you. And I actually made this statement on the episode that drops this week when I said, if I'm walking up some steps, we'll use you. You walking up some steps and somebody falls and they look at you and say, "You pushed me down some steps," like angrily, you're gonna be like, "No, I didn't."
Yeah.
But if they say, "Well, my feelings are valid," and you know what I'm saying, you like, that didn't happen. So the point that
Hmm.
I'm making is, a lot of times people get upset at things that did not happen. And there's been plenty of times I'm like, that didn't happen that way. And if you do that, they'll try to manipulate, oh, you're not taking my, but I'll be here all day with that one. But I'll say once again to just feel your emotions. Anything you want to add to that before we move to the final segment?
Yeah. I think it's a lot of things that's probably happened prior to the moment to
Yeah.
even get to that. I know it talks about in Psalms, I want to say 4, if I'm not mistaken, where it talks about don't let your anger cause you to sin, right?
Hmm.
So if we expound and expunge on my feelings are valid, your feelings are valid when you know how to regulate and where to place your feelings and your emotions.
Yeah.
So if you are training yourself to not keep them in and put them in a healthy way, okay, cool. But it shouldn't lead you to do certain things that could be detrimental or perverted in certain situations, right? So I feel like in these situations, you know, um, men should be able to have a healthy space, create those spaces in those moments where in those moments you're comfortable enough to be in that moment, so that when it does happen, you're not on stage or a screen like fighting it, like, nah, man, I'm good. Like, no, 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 it's cool. Like, I think those things should build up to it. Train yourself in a way that allows you to be in that moment. So wherever you feel is appropriate, it's appropriate. So if you want to cry, cool. If you don't want to cry, that's fine too. But just knowing you have the option, you know.
So I'm gonna say this just again to stir the pot a little bit, then I'm for sure going to the next topic. It was another clip I saw. Um, it's a meme or it's a video, and it said ninjas will be like this. It was deep in worship at the church, crying and all that, and he said have 7 girlfriends. I said that really be the case. They really do. So, what is your take? Again, we kind of went back to earlier about people using, and again, we all are in different places in life. So, even the person that does that, that just might be they still ain't got the revelation that this ain't okay just yet. They,
Yeah.
you know something ain't right, but it just ain't hit your spirit just yet. So, what is your take on that as far as like just that situation as a whole? Like, sometimes people using their emotions to like pander to the audience to like get a following.
So make sure I'm understanding the question right. You're asking me is like how do I feel about when there are people that might leverage certain emotions to get a certain
Yeah.
like okay. Um oh yeah, I feel like that's like completely manipulation. I ain't gonna lie to you. Just because it's just not authentic.
Yeah.
There's something very wrong in that because that's a very intimate space, especially if you're worshiping anywhere in general. Like if you're trying to pry on people's emotion to get something that you want, I mean, it goes back into the whole being like the prideful, arrogant, manipulative spirit and stuff. That's low key, even like a Jezebel spirit. If we want to get down and dirty to it, you feel me? Um, so I think that those type of things need to be. We should be able to discern those things. I know it talks about in John is saying test the spirits, right? Test those spirits because I know. I can even be transparent. I know when I first started doing what I was doing, people was looking at me like, because going back to something we talked about earlier, was like, well, I knew where he came from. So I need to see it. But then just being able to know that, hey, I know I'm walking in obedience because this is where God's brought me out of. And I know there's going to be people that know me from where I used to be. And there's going to be people that know me from where I am now. But I can't let those things like cloud my focus and I'm so married to this, like I need to prove them right. Nah, God's going to do that for me by how I act. You should see in my walk that, hey, this is this is that, this is that. And if you don't want to believe it, that's fine. I'm not going to fight you, but I'm just going to keep doing what God told me to do. So people that want that, it's like, hey, if you want to do that, cool, but just know that God's going to make sure that you get dealt with however way He thinks is appropriate. So that's how I feel about that.
Without revealing too much or revealing as much as you like, can you tell a brief breakdown of what you came from that will have people question that?
I mean, you gotta think about it, bro. Everybody got a pass. You feel me? You got a person who was known for drinking, known for being promiscuous, known for having being a player and all that stuff, right? So now you got this person who what seems like out of nowhere to people. So you don't drink anymore. You're abstaining now. You don't do all the things now. Why is this? So yeah, it causes like question, but then when somebody actually hears it, you're like, wow. And they see you out in public, like, wow, like you are serious, you know? So who you used to be isn't who you are anymore. Why? And I always say, listen, these are something that God allowed people to ask me to show them that He's real. So yeah, I did used to do all that stuff you talked about. I was out in the club, down in different bottles and stuff, and I was in her ear and her ear. But now, the same gifts that God gave me that I was inappropriately and using for the enemy's camp, He's now redeemed, and I'm using it for His now. So now I'm utilizing the same things that He gifted me with, but now I'm doing that to bring people to know who He is and bring His name and glory and stuff. So hey, listen, I'm not in the season of dating, but what I will say is, hey, let's come. Let's. You want to go to church? It's a church home. This is great for this. If not, cool. I do this, yeah, yada. But I'm not in the season right now. But if you do want to be in the proximity, I will let you know. I do this, this, and this, but it's be only in the context of this though. Because there's been a lot of people who I've definitely known try to shoot that shot at me, But then because of them seeing like the seriousness and the firmness of how I am and stuff, now people like serving in church or starting their own stuff they're doing. It's kind of like, listen, when God tells me I can do it, I'm gonna do it. But right now, just being transparent too, having a child and everything, my whole perspective of life just changed, bro.
Yeah. Okay. Good to hear. Like I said, I believe that we're just in a different place. And I know people who not even, saved, but you talk about the whole club lifestyle and drinking and stuff. Like, I challenge people, like I said, me and my community, we going on a 90-day cleanse starting the year. I already don't smoke, so that's not an issue. And I've already been off and on with alcohol as far as like it used to be every weekend. Now it's like in and out. But the goal is every time I go on a cleanse, the desire is less and less. So I know when I do the 90-day, I believe my homeboy, he don't drink. He said, "But you do that 90-day, when you gonna be done." I said, which is fine because I've taken the breaks, and you really be cool once you do it for so long. You think it becomes normalized. When you stop, you be like, this really don't be. You be cool, and you save money, people. So I tell people
A
all
lot
the
of
time.
money.
I tell people all the time, everybody not gonna stop drinking permanently, and that's your business. But I still suggest cleanses. So just because, so you can just see what it's like. But we will do it in 90 days. It's gonna be no alcohol, no weed. Obviously, I don't do that. Read at least 7 pages a day. Wake up every day except one day out the week at 7 o'clock in the morning. Like out the bed, not just eyes up looking. Get up out the bed. And then I'm gonna add something else to it to really give it a challenge because we did the 60-day one this past year. Now, like I said, 90 days. Okay, good stuff. Now let's go into the final topic. Now this one is a little more interesting. This is up my alley, and I'm gonna tell you why. Once you see it and I get into it, you're gonna be like, I see why. All right, so let me present the screen and show it. All right, let's do it.
How much are we? 250. 250. That's like.
Got my nigga right. How's call? You straight? You straight? I got that shit on too.
She got cook, clean, fuck, shut the fuck up. Exactly. We off that. 50-50. We off that. 50-50. Nothing. Hold your head up, King. Your crown is falling.
Okay. Talk that talk.
Yeah.
Talk that talk.
Yeah.
I hear you.
If you snooze, you lose. There'll never be no sucker and fall victim to anything y'all niggas be having going on. Motion is the key. First thing first in the morning, you got to get up and get you some money. And if you ain't.
Yeah, Druski made a video on us, that fat bastard. It's funny because he makes that video talking shit, right? And it's like, bro, you're too much of a coward to even come on our show because of your sponsors and brands. But you want to sit here and talk shit about us. We're giving people real advice. I mean, if you took good advice, you wouldn't have wiped up hoe-ass Ruby Rose. That's fucking embarrassing. Dude's putting videos out, kissing her and doing vacation, all this other shit. He could sit there and say it was a marketing scheme all day. Bro, that's still, those were your lips on her, though, nigga, and that girl's a whore. So that's a L. That's a big fucking L. Over here promoting this big fucking thought. Wifing her up. Even if it's for marketing, it's a L. And you're fat at the end of the day. So, bro, if you're fat, it's an auto L. I don't take nobody that's serious, that's fat. How you 300 pounds trying to talk shit about me, bro? Talking about enhancers. Bro, if I was president of the United States, I'd have your fat ass in a concentration camp, nigga, where you can concentrate on diet and exercise, you fat fuck. Holy shit, man. Fat niggas sitting here talking shit about me, bro. We'll take y'all niggas serious. You guys are second-class citizens in my society, bro. In my eyes, you niggas are third-class citizens. Fuck.
Okay, I have a lot to say. Okay, let's get into what does this have to do with mental health. First of all, as a retired crash out, and when I say retired, because I wasn't out here just fighting everybody. I had some fights though, but mouth is on fire. I grew up fat and ugly, and I'm from St. Louis. Like we can do that. But here's the thing, and I'll tell you more offline because we got the monitoring spirits on. But what I say mental health wise is Druski is being Druski. Druski is a comedian. Mm-hmm. You're in the public eye, you're gonna get talked about. He made a joke, satirical joke, which is even like my podcast, which satire, making fun of things with the effort that it will change. This is Family Guy, this is Saturday Night Live, that kind of thing. This is what they do. So for him to make a skit about you and you to crash out like that on camera is insane, because you just proved he got under your skin. Granted, you saying all the stuff like, oh, you a second-class citizen to me because you fat, which I know how Myron feels about fat people. And then for you talking about some, oh, you wiped up a hole and you lame and you fat and you crashing out, you cashing out on this, yada yada yada. We know Fresh and Fit what they're for, as far as, you know, I used to be subscribed. Either way, mental health wise, Druski did clap back from my understanding, but it was still in jest. He was still Jonah. Like, he wasn't on no like, I'm finna fight you. It was just like, you know, but mental health wise, what is your take on being, here we go, publicly humiliated?
I know everybody's going to handle things different, but there is a little bit of truth in everything. So one thing that I've learned just in general is everything doesn't deserve a response. Sometimes you just got to take it to the chin and be like, all right, cool. You know what? And this is me just speaking personally. Like, I try to make sure that everything that I do, it edifies or it leads somebody back to Christ. So in that situation, if somebody's saying to me, one, I got to reflect and look at myself and what I've done and how, you know, what I can do moving forward to better myself. But then two, if I'm not going to respond, not respond. But if I do, how can I respond in a way that allows them to see Christ in my response? Because honestly, crashing out ain't gonna do anything. All it's gonna do is just start more stuff. And as you see, he already had a rebuttal. It's like, it's kind of like, really like, if we want to put it in layman's terms, whose stuff is bigger at the end? You feel me? Like, all right, I'm about to say this. Okay, cool. I'm gonna top you, and then it's gonna keep going. It's like, what are we doing here now? It's kind of like you ruining, to a certain extent, to some people, your platform. Like you just said, like, I don't even subscribe to stuff like that no more. But it's kind of like, what's the point? So you can feel like you won this argument and you're right. Ain't no point of that. Like, I'm not about to argue about something I know isn't true just to have somebody else tell me it's not true. You feel me? So
It's interesting because it's just like if Myron would have just laughed it off, but he's known for doing that, like crashing out, because he crashed out, unfortunately. And, you know, comments, he could have had a bad day. You know, he could have got to him that day, you know, but if I would have had that reaction, I wouldn't have recorded it. I would have
yeah,
been something I got out my system, then got online, and I probably would have laughed it off. Or if it hurt my feelings, I
I
would have
like how you
probably,
said that because sometimes you gotta do that. Like you, like I said, you gotta know yourself for real,
yeah.
for real. Because like I said, if I'm not gonna respond, but I do feel a way, I have a trusted group of people that I'll let my vulnerable raw self out with. Like I know how sometimes people get on platforms and just in general on interviews, so they have a polished look. They say certain things, right?
Yeah.
But then there's different places where you really gotta be honest with somebody. Be like, yo, can I just be honest for like 10 minutes with you? And then you just gotta sometimes you gotta have a space, a safe crash out, you know? I think that's a very valid place. Like, hey,
Safe
I'm not
crash
going to
out.
crash out in public, but let me just crash out here real quick. And I'll be
Yeah.
doing that in prayer. I'll be doing that to people, like I say, I trust and stuff, because sometimes stuff like that, you be like, bro, I can't win to lose, basically. So I feel like I think that's a better way to put it. If you're gonna crash out in a way that still protects your image, but then gets out how you really feel for real.
I mean, that's true. Definitely. I didn't seen some people, not people, just people crashing out in war. And if you know what I mean, you know what I mean.
Hmm.
So I'd rather do that than crash out like that, because at the end of the day, y'all both lose, because if y'all going back and forth, you putting on a show for people for free. And
Yep.
like I said, as someone who used to be known for like, oh, who we get into it with today because it was entertainment for people, I've done that for far less. And that's why I made the comment at the beginning. I said, if I'm going, which, you know, I'm still not going to, that's not the goal. But if I'm going to crash out and go back and forth with somebody, in that case, they both getting views, clicks, they get essentially it transfers into money over it, right? If I was to crash it like that, at least I'm gonna get paid for it. It's people crashing out here for free. You crashing out in clubs for free. You crashing out on and just I've just seen people just losing. It's like I'm telling you, you and you know this is from experience. Why I believe in man, all the scriptures jumping out today when they talk about, we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. So I be telling people, don't do that. I'm telling you from experience, it's not going to be a good look. Don't do that. I'm telling you, I know what this looks like. It's not going to be good. So, but people don't, segues to WWID. What would I do in this situation? Really, we kind of answered in the last segment. I think that, like you said, we crash out in another way, whether it's you getting your room, sitting up in your room and writing your journal like Moesha about what happened. It was a meme years ago. It was like Doug meme, and it said, "Dear Journal, everybody had me effed up today."
Yeah.
Do that. Do that. Pray on it, journal. Do something that's more productive. If I get some boxing gloves, not go hit the people. But if you got to,
I'll be going to the gym. I feel like I'm really about to. Let me go to the gym real quick.
That's what I'm saying.
I'll be lifting extra heavy. Like, can't believe they did this.
Yeah, no, because I'm telling you, I have dealt with public attacks like that. I don't know if you have, but I have dealt with public attacks, and it was so much so in different occasions where no matter what you said, nobody believed your side. So I was forced to be quiet. I had to learn to just, you can't do nothing because they're not gonna hear you no way. No matter how good you explain it, no matter how you word it, when the spirit of pride is at work. So it's like they close their ears and they can't hear nothing you saying. So it's no point. And like I said, just with that situation, these people are known for doing stuff like that. But just again, if this is you and you've been in a situation with public scrutiny, this is gonna do this. WWJD, what would Jesus do? So most people think that, I've talked about it before, that he did not respond because they think the right thing to do is always just be silent. And that's not the case either. Because, for example, if somebody came to your house right now and said you stole $20 million, you're not gonna sit there and just not respond. You're gonna say, no, I didn't. You're gonna take it to try. You're gonna go to you know what I'm saying? So there are ways to respond to things without necessarily, it's just how you go about it and what you go about, So in this case, honestly, like you said, it's a slippery slope. I do believe in most cases you wouldn't need to respond to a joke. But if you did respond, even if I'm crying, I will probably respond with like laughing emojis. Or if I did respond in a way, if I was, both sides of the ball making a joke about somebody. Okay, so I'm gonna be Druski first. So if I was Druski making a joke about somebody, which has happened if you know me, and it might have, say it went too far. Granted, it went too far. I don't have too much pride to apologize. You know what I mean? Like if you really bothered by it, like, dang, bro, I'm clowning. Like, yeah, it's some truth to it, but it's a joke. If I was Myron or the Fresh and Fit podcast people, I probably would have just been on some stuff like, I would have laughed at it. Here's the thing. This really gonna get y'all. I would have been happy because a public figure like that just put eyes on my stuff, because there are people who never heard of that podcast. So now, because of Druski's joke, there are people who went and looked it up, which now it wasn't no 5-10 people, it was hundreds of people, and several people probably subscribed. So now you just got, even when it was like, your accusers, enemies have been hired, so they've been hired to promote you. So really, you just got promoted. Little do you know, you just got to deal with some jokes for a little while. But y'all know how this world works. It seems like you're gonna get dragged for the rest of your life, but it's not gonna be that long. They're gonna talk about you for a week, 2 weeks top, then they moving on to the next thing. So I'll let you open up the next one. So WSMD, what should men do in this situation? What would you do in this situation if you was either one or both?
If I was Myron, I ain't gonna lie. The first thing I say, I was thinking about when you was talking about, I'm like, dang, I don't even use that much enhancement, bro.
Yeah.
That's the first thing I thought about, bro. I wouldn't even do, because sometimes you gotta laugh at it. Like, okay, I feel it. But like I said, just figure out a way to not add more fire to the fuel, And with Druski, I feel like Druski is his own person, feel me? I probably, if I'm him, I wouldn't even start it. But that's just me and stuff. But I feel like what men should do in this situation, for kind of go back to what we've been talking about, is have a safe space, have a community. Fight that with a trusted source and figure out, even in prayer, like, yo, how should I respond? Or should I respond at all? What's best for me? Because like I said, you don't want to do anything out of anger, and then you do something, you don't want one problem to cause another problem that causes another problem just because you're angry in the moment. Like, I have to defend myself. So I feel like, just being able to sit back, sit still, and like, you know what? Let me sit with this. I give myself 24 to 48 hours before I do anything. If something causes me to um, attempt to get out of character, I'm like, let me take some time first. So if I do want to respond, I'm responding more in a more calm state. So I feel like that's something men should do. Have a routine of like a trigger routine. I think that's a good word, a trigger routine.
There we go. I'm definitely gonna use that in a clip, a trigger routine, because for me, in a situation like this, and then I talked about this with my barber recently because it was a situation he had where he basically responded. He was like, I should have waited to respond. I'm like, you definitely, because I've been in them situations where somebody texts you something crazy or say something crazy, and you just say, I'm gonna let it sit for a minute because I don't have the right thing to say right now. Because I say what I want to say, and I'm at a stage where, like I told you, my mouth is. I'll get into more later, but you made a comment about how the things that we use for evil is still gonna be there, but it's gonna be for good. But anyway, mouth is on fire. So it's been times I done looked at that phone, I'd be like, and I was like, I hear a voice that say they playing with you. You know what you need to do. And I'd be like, nah. Because there's been times I done say, yeah, let's do it. But where I'm at now, I'm gonna do it and I'm gonna feel bad later. And we know why I'm gonna feel bad. So I was like, I don't even want to deal with that. I'm gonna just let you have that. And for somebody like me, it is hard to just say, I'm gonna let you have that, because I could easily end this right now and drop a nuke.
Yeah,
But,
you can't be like Franklin Saint, bro. Because Franklin used to crash
and where he at now?
on the corner somewhere.
Exactly. That's gonna be you, Franklin Saint, on the corner. So to end off, what should men do in a situation like this? You could say Druski don't, but like I said, take them out of it. What if somebody playing with you publicly, or this a friend of yours even, and they making a joke at you? You gonna crash out like that? It's gonna be like, dang, he took that too far. And a lot of times, like, he was going in, well, Myron was, but it's like, as a man, where I'm at now, what's your take on that? Let's ask this. Let's stir the pot. Do you think it's feminine for a man to get mad and try to low blow you like that?
Yeah. I wouldn't say feminine. I wouldn't use that, but I just feel like it's out of character. I feel like, you can talk to somebody about it, but I don't think people want to talk about it. Let's be honest with you. People don't want to talk about their emotions. They don't want to actually confront things. People hate confrontations.
Yeah.
They want to be in control of the situation. So how can I control it? I'm going to release in a way where I can control the narrative and say what I want to say. And then you feel how you want to feel. But no, it's like the best way to do it is, hey, I'm gonna talk to you face to face. If I can't talk to you face to face, I'm gonna call you. We're gonna chop it up, and then if we can squash it there, cool. If not, cool. My thing is, I'm not about to start a pot or anything. I think we need to be in a place where we're okay with stepping up to things that are uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's really everything we're talking about is uncomfortable. Emotions are uncomfortable. Confrontation is uncomfortable. Being vulnerable is uncomfortable. Being attacked is uncomfortable. What do you do when you're uncomfortable? All these are things are to get you out of character. The best way to stay in character is knowing yourself and knowing what is trying to take you out of that space and why is it trying to take you out of the space. Because when you start realizing why certain things are trying to get you to focus on this and not what you've been focusing on, you understand, like, bro, I'm not even about to give this my energy. I'm gonna talk to you. We won't squash it right here, but I want you to know that this ain't about to be what you think it is. So yeah.
Now I was gonna end it there, but I'm gonna end it off because I want a public opinion on something I did. So during the I almost said the pandemic, or that too, I was letting people have it. But during the presidential election, we all know who won, and you
Yeah.
know who the society was in more favor of, which actually is not true, because if they was, that person would have won, because when you looked at the numbers, they showed otherwise.
Mhm.
And yeah. So basically, I made a post or reposted something, and I would have reposted this no matter who won. And I stated, if you are over here cutting people off and all this over the election, it was a repost. It said and it said it a lot better than what I'm saying now. It was like you're a lot more emotionally immature than you realize, or something to that extent. Just reposting it because it's like it was the stuff I was seeing, and I'm sure you've seen it. It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. It was bad.
Mhm.
So a friend of mine at the time DM'd me and said, I want you to tell me honestly how you think I responded. He DM'd me and said, this post is immature. Lives are on the line, and I will never support nobody that supports Trump.
Mhm.
I responded, I said, oh, okay. And then he blocked me on everything. We got a little audience. I see him. I want y'all to let me know. Do you think I was wrong for my response? I do, looking back, think I shouldn't have said nothing, but I said, oh, okay. Like, I didn't argue. What's your take on it? Because to me, and also let me add, I don't believe in coincidences. I had just said that week on a live stream.
Yeah.
We was talking about the election, getting ready for it, and me and this guy was on there. Shout out to, I think it's Eddie Wynn, and we were talking about how, like, if anybody cut you off over there, they was looking for a reason. Like, literally, this happened. This conversation happened 3 days before that happened. I don't believe in coincidences, and just based on our relationship and times, it was kind of like. So, what's your take on that? What's your take on how I responded?
I feel like in the moment, if you felt like it was appropriate, that's fine. If he would have been in a space to hear something, that would have been fine too. But it's kind of like, I feel like at times we know who can handle what.
Yeah, exactly.
And sometimes a simple, okay, I respect your opinion, or okay, that's really all you can give to somebody.
Yeah.
I think that there are people we know, hey, I can actually have a conversation with. Other people are like, you know what? They ain't listen to a word I'm saying.
Exactly.
But I'm not about to get myself worked up because I did that. So boom. So I feel like in that moment, you analyze the situation the best way you could, and that was that. And like you said, Brody responded a certain way, and it just exposed certain things. Because I do feel like people was tweaking and crashing out for no reason. To be honest with you, I'm thinking like, yo, either person, doesn't matter if you voted for Trump, doesn't matter if you voted for Kamala. Like either way, it was going to be some messed up stuff going on. My thing is like, why are you so dependent on what they're doing in the office? I feel like people, I think that it's like, how can I put this? People don't want to take accountability for the part they have to play in the things they want to see in their lives.
Yeah.
So they're going to leverage it on somebody else for the reason. So, oh, I couldn't do this because of Trump, or I couldn't do this because of Kamala, or I couldn't do this because of my baby mom, or I couldn't do this because of my friend. They're going to find somebody and something so they don't have to feel like it's all on me. But really, it's on you. If life is going to be hard, you just got to determine what type of hard life you want. Is it going to be hard because you chose to be lazy and broke and not do anything, or will it be hard because you actually worked your butt off to get what you want?
Yeah.
What are you going to do? So I feel like, man, people going to have an excuse for whatever they want to have an excuse for. But at the end of the day, it's all on you. So I don't care who's in office. It could have been Mickey Mouse for all I care about.
Yeah.
My thing is, my faith is in God, Jesus Christ, and what He told me. So I'm supposed to do and stewarding what I have. I'm not worried. And I'm not going to say I'm not going to be ignorant of what's out there, but I'm not about to be all hell bent over it.
All right. That's a great way to end it, y'all. All right. So this week's episode starts the first part in a 2-part series, featuring my girl Denise Lee. And then the second part will be me solo next week to end off the season. And then we'll come back for season 9 in April, beginning of April. But what was I about to say? Yeah, so the first episode this week is the meme for this week reads, if I'm supposed to how am I supposed, why am I trying to secure the bag if God already told me that it's already mine? So basically it's just talking about like we have the power to produce wealth. That's what the word says. And we go in depth about that as to why should we be chasing the bag? Should we not? And going in depth about that. And I have a lady who is like an entrepreneur burnout specialist. So it's going to be good for that as I pick her brain on camera. And she is like, she done been banned on several social media platforms for the things she done said. So y'all got to tune in for that. Thank you for pulling up on me last minute, y'all. This was last minute. He planned on doing something else, not this. So I thank you for coming on. And I
No
think
problem, man.
that's all we got, y'all. So tune in this week for the episode. PSA signing out. Always remember, keep your head up like your neck hurt. Remember who you are. Make your mind up. Don't let it make you. And remember, I love us for real.
Say, keep your head up like